Hi everybody and welcome to my LingQ tutorial. So LingQ is an app that is very near and dear to my heart. I used it personally while I was teaching English as a foreign language in Chile, and I used it to learn Spanish, and it helped me a great deal, really. So essentially, just to sum up what LingQ is it the methodology behind it, the philosophy behind it is that via listening and reading at the same time, you can create a much more engaging and a much more effective manner, much more effective lesson in which to teach a great deal of vocabulary at a time. And the vocabulary is taught implicitly, so it's not taught via traditional uh, flashcards or fill in the blank type of lesson. And this is something I really recommend to my students as well when they want more practice or when they're having a hard time getting their listening comprehension up. I hear that a lot from people trying to learn a second language, trying to acquire a second language. So if you're more the type of person that really wants to acquire a language without sitting there and just memorizing, this is the app for you. So this is the homepage. We're at LingQ, so we are learning English. I'm a TESOL instructor, so I am going to be doing the lessons in English. So essentially, I'm just going to give you guys a brief overview of beginner. So you have various lessons. These are all audio bits with attached text, which I'll show you in a second. So some of these are created by LingQ themselves and their mini stories. And then some of these are imported from outside sources. So some of them are news articles, some of them are created by third parties, and they're really cool. They are really cool. They're a bit mundane in the beginning levels because a lot of it is hello, how are you, blah 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 blah. Whereas intermediate and higher level learners, it's a lot of news articles, podcasts, classic literature, poetry, stuff like that. So it gets very fun, and it's a really good segue to reading in a second language. So look at this, The New Yorker, Men Who Still Love Fight Club. So you can import this, and it will become a LingQ article, but there won't be any audio with it. That's the only downside to the imported articles. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. We're going to higher our level. Let's say we've got a level 3 or level 4 English language learner. So intermediate 1 to intermediate 2. Here we go. So let's look for a lesson here. London tour, travel and holidays. That's exciting, huh? So all in all, I think this app is great for homework and a lot of independent study stuff. So this is just awesome, man. I love this app. So I'm going to stop talking so much in a minute and actually get to the real tutorial. So here we are. When I press the play button, there will be audio, the same exact audio that is here. So I can read along while I'm listening, and that enables the student, the learner, to connect the sound of the word with how the word looks, with the sight of the word. And so I just opened this account. All of these words are highlighted in blue. So if I want to see the definition, the dictionary definition, I just have to click on the word. Where? I don't know what where means. Oh, little pop-up.
Where? There.
So it not only shows me the definition, but it also gives me a native-like pronunciation.
Where?
In what location, at the time of, etc., etc., etc. And then it gives me some related phrases. Where are you from? Where are you? Where are? Okay.
Where?
So I'm just going to go ahead and play the audio.
Hello, Jason. You're from England. Where are you from in England?
I'm from South London.
Okay. So, and this is the other good thing about this app is that the learner can go at his or her pace. They could really chop it up page by page, or they could let it flow. So let me go ahead. I'm just going to click on one. Okay, so it gives me a Spanish translation right there. It doesn't always. That is one critique I have about this app. I had no problems using this app for Spanish as an English speaker, but there's some bugs in it for Spanish speakers trying to learn English. So, like right here, it's got the correct translation. So it's not always exact with the translations. It could be a little wonky. I've had Portuguese pop up. I had German pop up earlier. So that is one of my critiques of it. So I'd be a little careful using it with a beginning learner, but somebody intermediate to advanced, especially somebody who's a little bit more autodidactive, somebody who's always asking you for more work, this can be a great app. Personal use as well. So this comes up, and I could say, oh, from, I know this word. So I click on it, and it's no longer highlighted.
South.
It is no longer highlighted. Non-highlighted words are words I know, because the app keeps track of words you know and that you don't know. It's got where in yellow because I clicked on it earlier and I did not hit I know this word. So essentially, it keeps track of the words you know, the words you have not seen, and the words you kind of know you've seen before but you need practice on. So they're going to continue to pop up. I'm gonna go to the next page.
Oh, cool. South London. Yeah, why don't you talk about that for a while?
Okay, well, London's a little bit colder than Japan. It's a little bit more expensive as well. So it's kind of nice to come here and spend my money.
Okay, so here we go. Where. We see where again, and it's highlighted in yellow. So the student can go back and say, where? What does where mean again? Where does where mean again? So he
Where?
clicks on it. So the yellow highlighted words are called links or LingQs. I'm not exactly sure, but they're called links, hence the name link. So it's recorded that you do not know that word or you need work on that word. So I can rate here how well I know this word, and it'll record how often to review this word with you. So I really don't know it. It's going to remind me again tomorrow. Versus I pretty much know it, but remind me again in 30 days. Versus I know this word, man. I got where. I know where. Donde. Where's the library? Donde está la biblioteca? All right. So let's say we finish our lesson. Oh, and by the way, every time you turn a page, I almost forgot, every time you turn a page, it automatically assumes you know all the words that you did not click on. So it saved all those words. And it adds up all the words you know up here. So far, no, I know 27 words in English, which is great. It's a really big motivating factor for the students. If, let's say you get an intermediate learner on LingQ and you have him using it nightly for a couple months, it's going to show that he knows like 5,000 words and he's going to be super motivated and he'll be like, whoa. And I'll say, who's your teacher? All right. So you also have the review. So I'm just going to click on this little arrow right here. And for those people that do need that extra reinforcement, that do want that extra reinforcement, here's the traditional kind of fill in the blank type model. Okay. England, Jason, I'm from South London. Todd, oh, cool. It's going to be O. So I submit. Correct. And then I can rate again. It allows you to have input in how well you know that word. So I'm going to go back to the home page here. Yeah, this app is fantastic. I love it. I absolutely love it. And it keeps track of the amount of links you make, the LingQs that you make. And you can set different challenges for yourself. Sign up for a challenge. Yes, and you can actually set up challenges for yourself to just kind of hold yourself accountable, hold your students accountable. I'm going to go back for a second. And essentially up here, it's got the past 2 lessons I've gone through. Before this, I went through the alphabet to brush up on my English alphabet, and it's got London tour. I can also search the entire library. So if you know your students well, which you should, and I know that Bob loves tennis, I can look up tennis. All right. So it's lessons that are relevant to what you're interested in, what you're trying to study. I can also use this to supplement other course content as well. So there's history in here, there's science in here. It's just a really good app for heightening your listening comprehension and also getting used to reading a lot in the second language. So here's an example of an imported lesson. So I can take you through that really quick. So the imported lessons are not lessons that are created by LingQ. They're lessons that are created. They're basically just articles that get absorbed into. Oh wait, there's actually audio. Wow. I'm gonna have to eat my words here, but a lot of times there is no audio, which is fine because it'll still track the words. So this is pretty cool. This is pop culture.
Hey Naomi, it's Michael.
So just another quick little note: 92. That's the amount of different words in this article in this given piece. So some have up to 250, 300. I remember when I was doing this app myself, I would see those big word assignments. I'm like, I want that. I want to get my number up. So it was very motivating. So in terms of practical application of LingQ, so obviously this goes without saying, LingQ is all about input for the student. They're receiving information, they're reading and they're listening, so they need to do some output. They need to do some writing and some speaking. So you can have students do independent reading with LingQ or in a pair, work together, and afterwards you can have a group discussion, or you can put students in small groups and have them debate, or you can have 2 debate teams, have them prepare their ideas, or you can make a writing prompt out of it. So you can have students maybe read an article about climate change, and you can give them a prompt. Okay, what does the article say about climate change? How can we solve climate change? Something to that extent. Obviously way more well thought out than that, but so it's a very malleable app. You can do a lot of things with it, but just make sure that you get some output. That's the important thing. And using LingQ just helped me immensely with getting my comprehension up substantially. So I just wanted to take a minute and talk about how LingQ coincides with some of the ISTE standards for educators. So I think it really coincides with the leader standard because I'm sharing this with you guys right now. So I'm sharing a resource that provides equity. It's a huge help for English language learners. And it provides support, differentiated learning for those students. Also with the facilitator standard, this is with LingQ. It's a very hands-off app. It's a very hands-off tool. We're sort of when you use LingQ in a lesson plan, you are really making the student invest in his or her own learning. They're doing their own thing. Of course you model, of course you aid, and of course you assess depending on how they did with that particular activity, but this is really them investing, being active learners, and we are facilitating that. Also the citizen standard, because LingQ is sort of a portal to the world. For me, it was a portal into Spanish literature, loving Spanish literature, learning a little bit more about Latin culture, and that that doesn't have a price tag. And it does so in a safe and engaging way. Furthermore, it coincides with the analyst standard in that the student is sort of assessing him or herself because they're seeing the amount of words that they know, the amount of words that they've seen, the amount of links that they've created. They're seeing their progress over time. And we, the teachers, of course, we see that as well. So we're actively assessing when we use LingQ. Okay, so moving on to some more of the relevant ISTE standards for students with LingQ. So global collaborator. So students are, again, they're interacting with the culture. They're going on the internet via LingQ and they're finding articles about the culture that they're living in or the culture that they're learning about. And via the language that they're learning in LingQ, they're also learning content, which can be tailored specifically to whatever lesson you're teaching. If you're a social studies teacher and you have an English language learner, you can use LingQ in order to supplement some knowledge about the American Revolution, etc. So that way they're learning more about the culture, not just the language. LingQ also makes students empowered learners in that they're using a tool independently They're learning about technology, and they're also learning about the language independently. We facilitate it. LingQ also helps students become knowledge creators in the fact that they're curating sources. They're looking at different sources, and this is kind of up to you, the teacher, or me, the teacher, to take a LingQ assignment and maybe make a group discussion or a debate about something. Let's talk about this. Furthermore, as they import articles or interesting stories about culture, classic literature, they're learning more and more about the world around them, past and present. So, knowledge creator. LingQ gels really well with the Common Core standards as well, in that it provides equal opportunity to the ELL. So, if you have a class of all native English speaking students and you have one ELL, this can really make a huge difference for that ELL in order to track their progress, get access to a translation, get access to a definition, be able to highlight words online that they don't understand, be able to hear the pronunciation of the word. And it also provides them support in their L1, and it helps them access reading skills quicker. And eventually they'll be on to reading without the support of LingQ, preparing them for college. In terms of CCT standards, that is for the state of Connecticut, it really corresponds with Domain 2, which is planning for active learning. Again, the students are active in their own learning. They're investing in their own learning. There's a lot of independent and group work going on. It's not just the teacher lecturing at the student. They're engaged with the technology. And it also allows the teacher to actively plan for smart instruction. Okay, what does the student know? Where can I go next? I can look at these articles and look, okay, this would be a fun lesson, something interesting for them to learn to supplement the language that they're learning. And it also actively assesses them as they go along. Okay, so some pros and cons to LingQ. I've spoken glowingly about LingQ. I don't think I need to say anything more about the pros. I mean, just to sum it up, it's an excellent app that allows you to really up your comprehension, your listening comprehension, and also really fall in love with the reading. It made reading in my second language so much easier for me. And it's just a lot of fun too. The students can really personalize their own learning, and the teacher can see where, not just with using LingQ, but the teacher can also learn a lot more about that student. Okay, I need to involve more about this subject that interests this student, or this student has this problem, etc., etc. Some cons: there's no speaking and very little writing, so there needs to be some sort of output with it. So if it's going to be done for a lesson, I think you should schedule a speaking activity, some sort of debate or speech or writing prompt, something like that. Some alternative apps, I'd say Pimsleur is a great audio learning app, or Flipgrid is great. You could have students send videos of themselves talking about a certain subject for homework. In an ideal world where students beg you for more homework, I think LingQ is an excellent additional supplemental resource for them. Also in the beginning levels, especially for speakers going from Spanish to English, it can be a little wonky with the translation. So I think LingQ is better served for intermediate to advanced level learners, but that's up to your discretion as well. So anyways, this was my LingQ tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and happy teaching.